Oh, hi there. I see the God Chest, Big Daddy. Oops, everything's moving too quickly for me to say anything. Yeah, first, I'm going to say sorry. This took a couple minutes, but of course, I'm never exactly on time. But I hope you all doing good. Let me go back through here. Say hi. Big Daddy Rum. Hello, the God Chest. Malicious Mom, Devin Pease, John Papa. Let's see. Brinley Tessa Evans. Nice name. Rich Reynolds, Dark Siren, the Bomber Guy, the Bomber Guy 334. I hope Claire Strange, Anna Bertels, Rainbow Bubbles. Hello, how are you guys doing? Um, it looks like I'm having a little clocking issue. I hope that's not appearing on your guys' end, but I'm I apologize. My voice sounds a little off. I have a toothache today. It's been like bugging the heck out of me for the past couple of hours. I'm taking quite a bit of ibuprofen. Oh, thank you. Thank you for all the nice compliments I see. Remember me, the war guy, Toasty Jiggles. Well, hello there. Big Daddy Worm, I love your channel. Thank you very, very much. It's Bama, as in Alabama. Okay, so the Bama guy, 334. I hate the summer. It's so boring. I've not really been bored, but it's been a little bit too hot for me. I can't stand hot weather, so it's been kind of nasty for me. Sage Cath, hello there. Nightmare-inducing terror, hello. Oh, Sunny hello. Excedrin works better for toothaches, really? I don't know. Kevin collects. What's up, Killer Orange Cat? My mouth hurts a little bit. Besides that, I'm actually doing all right. If I want to send you a story, where do I send it? Fox Barking 44 at gmail.com is the best place to send it. The address is included in the description of all my videos, so you can check out a previous video and see. I'm Mr. Haunted. Hey, KOC, would you like to be a part of my 2,000 subscriber mega collaboration? I would just need about 5 minutes of audio. Of course. But do me a favor. Could you write me an email or send me something on Twitter? Because I don't have anything to write with right now, so I can't not write it down. I will forget. I tend to do that sort of thing. But yeah, it's originally I was going to read a couple of stories. I was going to read one of my was one of my earliest stories where I was the kids are walking through the country and they come up across the tunnel and I see the guy that keeps asking them if they want to play with your dogs or stuff. And I've been wanting to write that for a while, but I've been unable to find a copy of the script and actually listen to the video and transcribe it for me simply because when I listen, but of course everyone's early videos, well, not everyone, there's some people that have done narrations in their early videos and they just were good right off the bat. And Mortis Media would be an extremely good example of that. He was good from his first video on. Remember seeing me in the top 15's comment section. I was actually mentioned twice in top 15 videos. Didn't know either time. It was quite a surprise, and I was kind of happy both times. Although in one of the stories, he read one of the stories on top 15s that I'd had in one of my videos, but he read it as if it had happened to me, and it hadn't. Uh, so there's that. And I'm sorry, since the talking seems to be going fast, I'm sure I'm missing a lot of comments, but it's but right, I don't have the script for that story, the dog one. I will find it eventually, and once I do, I will be able to do it in a reading. I just don't feel like listening to it and transcribing it. Which top 15s? If you look last year for 2017, listen to listen to the scary Halloween stories one and the scary Christmas stories one. If I'm not mistaken, I'm mentioned within the first five in each story. Hey Diane, you just tweeted me. I'm a worry word. Yeah, I never get sorry, Diane. I never get started on time, and sort of be all around the place by this point. But this time it was a little bit worse because I it's not just one of my teeth; it's several of my teeth on the left side that are hurting right now. So I had to take some ibuprofen. Hopefully, having it work before this started. Um, I don't have anything like Ambisol. That would be really nice. I was gonna go brush my teeth and try that too, but uh, that helped out a little bit. Brian Mathis, how are you doing, KOC? I'm doing okay. It's again, if you missed it, I'm having a couple teeth that are hurting, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. But other than that, I'm doing great. Excedrin. Well, Sonny, I'd take Excedrin if I had any Excedrin, but I don't have any ibuprofen. That's all I have for pain. So, you sent your story a while on Facebook. Yeah, again, I Facebook is really the worst way to communicate with me. Not that you know that, or because it's sort of just my thing. I don't really like going on Facebook anymore because everything that happened. Again, there's all that negativity that came out in the 2016 presidential election from both sides of the aisle, the Republicans, Democrats, of which I have many of in the family, going at each other, and it just ruined Facebook for me. I barely ever check Facebook because there's just so much negativity. There are people in my family and friends of mine that were friends and for long times and won't talk to each other before, and I watched them yelling and screaming at each other, calling each other names just because they supported someone different politically. And after the election was over, I was just burnt out on Facebook, so I barely ever sign on. I might go on there maybe once or twice a week. I may use the messenger to talk to someone in my family, but what I'm doing is, and as a psychologist, I should know this, is I am associating Facebook with the negativity, even though it's not really completely fair to do that. The negativity was everywhere, but for me, that's where I saw it the most, and it just really, really got to me. So, if you want to communicate with me, the three best ways to do it are through YouTube by commenting on one of my videos, through Twitter, and through just emailing me. Twitter might be the best way. I sort of like it a lot. I've never had any negativity with it. Oh, hey, Big Kev, how you doing? Good to see you. I was talking to you earlier in the chat. Wasn't sure if you got the message, but glad to see you. But yeah, if you want to be able to get in touch with me, the best way to do it, Twitter, email, or somehow here. Just am. I have a problem. I am being stalked on YouTube. How do I? How do I do it? Meaning, how do I get this person off my butt? Go to their channel page and block them. That's what I do. Never hear from them again. Although I'm sure that some of them that I block that I get in arguments with probably downvote my videos, but that's okay. I noticed I got a downvote for this one like immediately, so I kind of wonder. I there's so much negativity on social media. I stay away from it. Um, who know KOC is a doctor? Cool. Psychologist. But yeah. Don't like going on Facebook because the sad things. Bottle of medicine. Let me go up a little bit because yeah, there is so much negativity. I again, I haven't really experienced it as much on Twitter as I've experienced it on Facebook, and I keep the Facebook account open because my family's on there. They don't really like Twitter, and we can communicate well through there. Do I practice psychology? Not really. I am a translator right now, so I translate articles, psychology journal articles from Japanese into English, and vice versa. Um, so I wouldn't really say I practice psychology, but there is an end purpose to what I'm doing. I gotta get me a drink here. So so yeah, it's not. I'm not practicing psychology as I'm not a therapist. There. Let's see. Thank you, cats. I lost a third of my audience. I appreciate you all so much. Um, so guys, can you hear me? Am I back?
No problem. Cats.
Yeah, possibly. So, hmm. Yes, that's fine. Yes, this was, um, as I've mentioned to a few people, we were watching some kittens because my brother's cat had kittens, and my brother's son is staying with them, so they didn't have room for the kittens. So we've been watching them, and they ran into the router and knocked the router out. So we had to put that back together. That's why I disappeared for a minute there. Hey, Dan is evil. Catherine Lynch. Harley. Let's go back and see. But yeah, sorry about that, everybody. But I guess if you can forgive anyone, you can forgive kittens, right? Um, they've been kind of fun. Mildly a pain in the butt, but you know, I'm not a big kitten person myself. I like cats. more. Cats are much more my style than kittens. Kittens are hyper. They run around a lot. They make a lot of noise. Uh, they're just all over the place. And don't get me wrong, I don't dislike kittens. I just like cats more. You know, they grow up and they just become a little lazier. They kind of like hang around more often. And hey, I'll jump on your lap and lie there for 5 hours, which Drusilla beat that last night. She jumped in my lap and she was pretty much in my lap for like 9 hours. I was like trapped to my chair. It's like, how do I get out of this chair? She's been sitting here for 9 frickin' hours. What am I supposed to do? It was very odd, but she Drusilla does not like the kittens very much, so I think that's probably why she stayed in my lap all that time. Where's Evil Black Cat? In her bedroom. Don't think, is she sleeping?
I think she is.
I think she. Yeah, I think she's asleep right now. I didn't tell her about this. I don't think. Um, it but it's was sort of something I sort of just decided to do, sort of at the last minute today. I did it mainly because I told one of my uh favorite listeners, Diane Hummel, I believe your last name is pronounced. I hope that I was going to finally read that story with the tunnel and the guy in the tunnel that wants the kids to play with his dogs, but I can't find a copy of the script. I had it all set up. Was going to read it, and I just can't find it. I checked on all my little hard drives, my external hard drives. I checked on my laptop. I have several laptops, and it might be on a certain one right now that I don't have a charger for because my brother came over and he's like, "I need to borrow a charger because the charger on my laptop's not working. Can I try yours?" I'm like, "Sure." So he borrows it and hasn't brought it back yet. So, oh yeah, I'll tell her hi when she gets up. But yeah, no, kittens are adorable, but they're too hyper, they're too fast, they're too not lazy. You know, I like cats. Cats are lazy when they want to be, and they can just lie there and just be lazy and sleep all day. And I like watching the cat sleep. It's good for me. So who's pinch hitting for you? Yes, it is Hummel. I know, no, but who's pinch hitting for me? I'm not sure what you mean by that. KOC, what are your thoughts on Darkness Prevail's new video featuring being scared? I have not listened to it yet. Although I will listen to it because those are two of my absolute favorite narrators and two of my absolute favorite people in the narrating community. So I'm going to be pretty happy to listen to that later on. Now, you know why we're doing this. I may go ahead and try to just go through one of my old stories, and read a couple of them for you. I kind of like doing the live reading thing, and it kind of almost seems to give a little bit of purpose to planning these out better. So, but right now, I'm just going to be talking to you guys, and we'll see what we're going to do. 10 scary stories for a rainy day. Then maybe it has to be good because, being scared is really does that. Those rainy day stories, those have really worked for him, and and I, oh, trying to read as we go here. But yeah, I'm really happy that format has worked so well for him. I do appreciate the help you can give me. He or it likes every comment that I leave, even goes back to the other comments I wrote and likes them. Other than blocking them, I really don't know. And if that doesn't work, I just don't know. That's all I've ever really had to do. I mean, if he's just liking your comments, I don't know really what you could do about it. I have the tendency to sometimes have to block people just because they tend to be kind of jackasses, and I just can't deal with that. And it's not that I can't, I just don't want to. So I just mute them or block them and just don't listen to them anymore. I've gone through too much negative stuff in the world to put up with that. I mean, unless you follow me on Twitter, and you'll see that occasionally when somebody sends me a comment that really, you know, kind of pisses me off, I'll respond, and then I'll go into Twitter and post the response. I actually had that happen today. But I tell that, man, the Obama guy, I've got a story for you, KSC. I want you to tell it. Well, if you look in any of my videos, and my address is foxbarking44.com, just send it there. I'd be happy to read it and let you know what I think. But it's today I got a comment on one of my older videos by this guy who told me that I don't have the voice to be doing this, so that I should, if I continue the channel, I should change my intro and then hire somebody else to do the narrating. Now, no one's ever said that before. I've never had anybody diss my voice, but it's number one. It was an old video. I think I've come a long way since then. Number two, I'm like, okay, you know, I have 28,000 subscribers. Tons of people to me. No one has ever said, you don't have the voice for this. So, I think your opinion doesn't really matter much to me. And then he's like, oh, but it's true. It's true. You don't have the voice for this and you should quit. And so then I'm like, oh, Lord. I said, maybe you need to go back to school and learn the difference between truth and opinion. But it's oh no, where I don't listen to that. I don't really care, and don't think that it got to me in a way that he made me feel bad about his voice. The things that get to me are a little bit different. What got to me is that he kind of felt like his opinion was a fact. And that's what gets to me when somebody's like, "Oh, John Papa, thank you. The sexiest voice for this. I appreciate that." And Sage Kath, yeah, people say it to chills all the time. But here's the funny thing. People, before I go back to me, in regards to chills, um, on his videos, if you read the comments, worst voice. Why do you sound like that? Why? But if you go to any top 15's video where Chills is not narrating, the majority of the comments are, "Where's Chills? No, Chills has got to be doing this. Bring Chills back." But see, just like Veronica says, that's just his own opinion, which he's entitled to his own opinion, and I made that very clear. But what got to me was not was not that he didn't like me, because I don't expect everyone to like me. What got to me is that he was trying to push his opinion off as a fact. And that gets under my skin, because when I was a kid, I think you guys probably know that when I was really young, I probably was a bit bookwormy and nerdy, but I'm also obsessive compulsive. And one of the things I'm obsessively compulsive about are facts, about rules, things like that. So it wasn't bothering me that the guy didn't like me. It bothered me that he was trying to say his opinion was a fact. My older brother used to do that. Whenever he disagreed with me, he'd give his opinion and push it off as a fact. Drives me freaking crazy. And I know people do that, and I just don't want to talk to you anymore. Not because I disagree with you, but because it's your freaking opinion. It's not a fact. So yeah, if you ever want to get under my skin, that's the way to do it. Dude, you got a good voice. Don't listen to those asshats. Oh, don't worry. I don't really care about the voice thing. You know, um, I've gotten I've gotten compliments on my voice my entire life. I was an actor for a long time. I acted in high school. I was in several plays. I won some minor awards for acting, so it's not something that bothers me. If he doesn't like my voice, not everyone is going to. It's just the fact and opinion thing that got to me and threw me off. But guys, if you listen to Chill's really early narrations, he doesn't sound anything like he sounds now. I think he developed that voice over time. He doesn't have that upward inflection at the end of each sentence in his earlier videos. His voice is a little less characterized. I don't really know how to put it. Am I going to do Alabama ghost stories? If I get any, if I get any, have you taken the MBTI? I don't know what that is. Tell me what that is. Um, what types of plays? My first play was Harvey. If you're familiar with that, you might know it from the Jimmy Stewart movie about how he has a big invisible rabbit as his friend. I played the doctor who was in charge of the asylum that they were committing him to, Doctor Chumley. Uh, and my second play was a play called The Runner Stumbles. I played a lawyer in that play and actually won an award for that one. I was pretty. I would actually. The funny thing is, I didn't really like that role as much, but I got a uh, wonderful standing ovation for it, which was great. Um, that's Donnie Darko. Yeah, well, the first thing when I was watching Donnie Darko, I first thought, "Oh wow, this is like the really warped version of Harvey." Um, bullshit. Could you explain what's bullshit, please? Some people take it in college. What do they take in college? I'm missing some stuff here. Um, but a personality test. Oh lord. Um, yeah, personality test. Hold on, I'm being distracted.
But yeah, right.
Yeah, those are good.
Tell them.
I'm being shown different flavors of Twizzlers, so um, that was what got my attention diverted there for a moment. But okay, damn right. Yeah, I'm missing something. I'm coming in different parts of people's conversations here. Diane played the rabbit. Okay, that's a good one. Um, then I was in. If you're from, I was in a play called the Thurber Carnival. Um, if you know James Thurber, the comedic author from the past, wrote a play. He wrote The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, some other things, and I was in that. And what I would really, really like to do if I ever go back to acting is I would love to do some a Shakespeare or something like that. Well, you kick the one in the background for a $10 donation again. Oh, I sure, why not? If it comes up, but he's not in the room right now, so it's But anyhow, I don't know how many of you were around the other day, a couple days ago, when I read that first chapter of that book that I wrote that one time. Had forgotten a lot about it before I did it, and when I eventually did actually get the reading done, I was kind of surprised because it had been so long, and it really got myself a appreciation for that book again. And I'm going to continue to read chapters from the book. And after I do some editing, I'm a much different writer than I was back then. But I kind of really got back into the story. I know right now anybody who listened doesn't really know the story. All you know is some kid was having a really weird dream, and Well, you'll find out more in the next chapter, but probably not as much as you want to find out. It's sort of a dark mystery. I mean, I like to call it a horror novel, but again, it's more in line with like something Christopher Rice would write. It's got sort of a dark, sort of gothic theme running through it, but it was probably before I went to college, probably the best thing I wrote before I went to college. So I'm still very proud of it. Although I do think it needs to be rewritten. You'll find it interesting, and if I get the next chapter edited before this weekend, I'll go ahead and read it this weekend. And as soon as I find a script for that dog story, I'll read that one too. Yes, Christopher Rice is Anne Rice's son. I met him at a book signing once. Was not interested in his writing before then, but when I met him at the book signing, because a friend wanted to go to the book signing and I went too, he was such a nice guy. I just made me want to read his book, so I read his book and I just loved it. KOC, what are your thoughts on the novel War of the Worlds, published London, 1898? Well, the War of the Worlds, published in 1898, made me go to sleep in the year 2002. So I have to apologize if you liked it, but I could not. Uh, wasn't very enjoyable to me. And I remember a couple years ago, I went through I listened to the broadcast, the famous broadcast, for the first time, and I fell asleep during that too. But yeah, I didn't like War of the Worlds, so I apologize if you did enjoy that one. Let me go through here a little bit here. I was looking for War of the Worlds today on Netflix. Haven't actually watched any of the movies and stuff. Maybe you can meet Swamp Dweller. He's in Texas. Really, I thought he was in Louisiana. I love H.G. Wells. Yeah, there were a lot of uh, a lot of books or stories that are really considered classics or really good by other people. I just can never get them. I think I've mentioned this before, but the book The Shining, which so many people consider like one of Stephen King's masterworks, the was one of the scariest books ever read, and I just thought it was so freaking boring. And this was when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I was a huge Stephen King fan. I'm not so much anymore, but then I absolutely adored him, and I hated that book, but everyone said it was the best. Oh, I don't know if he's in Texas or Louisiana. Louisiana was my guess. It just could be his name. Maybe he called himself Swamp Dweller. I may have got my wires crossed. But uh but yeah, there are a lot of swamps in Louisiana, so if he lives in Texas, he may feel more comfortable living in Louisiana. What about Carrie? I liked Carrie. Carrie was a very well written book. I liked Carrie because it kind of reminded me of Dracula. It was what do they call it? A, p- you know, an epistles. So I think it's called an epistolic novel, where since it was written it was all just correspondence. Um, let me go back. Let me go back here. I think there's getting a Carrie is awesome. Pet Cemetery. Oh yeah, a Pet Cemetery. The two books of Stephen King's to this day, to this very day. that I consider his best works are and uh, Misery and Pet Cemetery. I mean, those two books are, in my opinion, just his best books. Um, Stephen King's first novel, released 1974. Well, definitely his first published novel. He did write a few novels before then, but they weren't published. Rage, which became, I think, it was Getting It On is what he called it first, but it became Rage. That was the one with the school hostages that he had let fall out of print. Um, no, I wasn't scared by Pet Cemetery, but I liked it. I don't know if I've ever actually read a book that scared me. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. That is not true. Pinocchio. When I was a kid, I read the original version of Pinocchio. That scared the holy living crap out of me, like you would not believe. A Pet Cemetery didn't scare me, but I liked it. Uh, Little Winter Flower. Hey there. Haven't been around in a while. Well, welcome back. It's nice to see you. Hope you're doing all right. Angela's reading The Stand right now. It's terrifying. Well, I enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was terrifying, but I did enjoy it. I read it one summer, 100 pages a night. I could do it more than that, but yeah, Sage Cat, right? Pinocchio is creepy. Pinocchio, the original story, and then in that area, in Europe, a lot of those stories were really scary. Ours are really toned down over here, but Pinocchio, just there were. It was not only just scary, it was disturbing, and I'm not sure if my mom had actually read the book before buying it for us. She may have thought it was just, a book like the movie. But yeah, it was just absolutely terrifying to me. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, um, there were nights after I read Pinocchio that I had to sleep with the door open with the hallway light on when I was a kid. That one really scared me. Had a really old book of short horror. Well, that just disappeared, didn't it? Horror stories that scared the snot of me when I was a kid. Well, I guess it makes sense, since you're a coward. So that this, but when you're scared of your own shadow, I guess a book of horror stories is going to scare you too. King is said to scissor along. Well, Diane, I can't really read him anymore. I was a huge fan of his, and I still kind of like his early work, but I'm a very disciplined writer myself, and I like disciplined writing. And his writing is very undisciplined, so it's very difficult for me to read it. It almost seems like he writes but doesn't revise, and that's what always gets to me. Is you got to revise, you got to write, and you got to write again, and you write again, and he doesn't plan his books out. He doesn't he doesn't outline. He doesn't and see by not I think outlining the story is very important. He just goes with what's on his mind. Now I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But it makes it hard for me to read because I can read his books and tell, hmm, he didn't think this out before. He just went with it. If you read someone like, just off the top of my head, J.K. Rowling, if you read any of her books in the Harry Potter series, you can tell that something that happens in the sixth book, she knew she was going to set that up in the first book, and her writing is very disciplined. And I only used her for an example. She's not the best example, but she was a well-known one for being a disciplined writer who outlines, who plans, who knows what she's going to write before she writes it. Okay, let me see you go down here a little bit. Killer, what's the more terrifying scenario for you? Ay, ay, ay. Oh, Sage Kath, I hope I didn't miss you. I'm just going through the things, but if I didn't miss you, good night and hope you sleep well. What's the most terrifying scenario for me? Wow. Um, that is a good question. I honestly, to be on a sinking ship, and not a sinking boat, a sinking ship. Like in the that scares me. First of all, I hate water. I hate. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love to sit on the beach and look at the ocean. I don't want to be out on the ocean. I don't want to be on a. I don't want to be on a ship. A boat even wouldn't bother me as much. But for some reason, the huge ships scare the crap out of me. Um, I would sure if I was on the Titanic, that would have been the most. I probably would have died of a heart attack. I wouldn't have. They would. I wouldn't have needed to freeze to death. I would have been scared to death. But yeah, that scares me. But I didn't find Ghost Ship very scary. I like the movie as cheap as it was, but yeah, that's kind of how I am. That and that kind of stuff just really very scared of knives. So it's oh, people are asking me if I'm into WWE. Well, yes, I'm very into WWE, and let me rephrase it. I'm more into wrestling than I am into WWE. I've watched it all my life, but I kind of watch it now more out of habit because it's not really good right now. But I'm a big professional wrestling fan, but I mostly like Japanese wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, Dragon Gate, Ring of Honor. I like to watch the National Wrestling Alliance, Ring of. There are several independent promotions in other countries. I like wrestling. WWE is kind of the worst of the wrestling out there, and I watch it more out of habit now than anything else. Um, what are my thoughts on R.L. Stein? Sorry, I've never read anything about by him. Kelsey, you read anything by Barb and J.C. Hendy? No, sorry, I've never even heard of them before. Um, but if you need,
You never read Goosebumps?
I've never read Goosebumps. No. No. What about on the lakes? If there's small lakes like the like lakes around the Fox River Valley area in Illinois, if I'm not going to have a chance of really seriously drowning in them, then I can go out in a small boat on a small lake or on the river and be completely fine. And but I can't be on the ocean. I just can't. There's no way. You would have to drug me against my will and put me onto the boat in order to get it to happen. It's just not going to happen. Let's see. I'm going to go forward here. I'm following way behind. Oh, nope. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Of course, I know WWE is not real. I mean, but come on. When you go to the movie theater and you go to watch a Terminator movie or something, you know that movie is not real, but you watch it because what's going on the screen it entertains you. That's the exact same thing with WWE. Yeah, I know it's not real, but hey, it entertains me. It's I've never understood people's fascination with going around telling people that pro wrestling is not real. I mean, everyone who watches pro wrestling other than kids knows that it's not real. But again, movies aren't real. TV isn't real. Even reality TV isn't real. People are watching it because it's something that entertains them. And
Even
no,
now,
no,
sport matches aren't real.
yeah. So yeah, it's not real. I don't care. I mean, until I watch an army movie where everyone actually does get shot to death, I'm not gonna care. You know, it's fake. Most entertainment is fake. Whoop de doo. KOC. What about Magic? 1978 starring Anthony Hopkins. I have never seen it. Well, I'm not going to be able to go through all this. They'll make it easy to scroll through the chat. There's not like one button I can just push. I got to like put the little scrolly thing on there and hope that I don't go and hope that I go far down enough. Have I read any books by Ray Bradbury? I probably did in high school, but I I don't remember. So if I did, I don't remember. I'm sorry. The Great Lakes. I've been out on Lake Michigan, but not too far out there. Lisa W. Hey, killer. My husband and I seriously love listening to your channel instead of music on road trips. Screw the haters. In fact, you don't have haters. You're not doing it right. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Commando is better than Terminator by a long shot. I don't know about that. The first Terminator I thought was really, really good. The other ones are not as good as the first. Commando I enjoyed. I remember seeing that a lot when I grew up. John Saul, Nathaniel was the book I read by John Saul. That book was creepy. I used to enjoy WWE, but it got to be a bit too much like Days of Our Lives. That is very true, and sometimes I think Days of Our Lives is probably much better written than that. Dean Koontz took all the commas. He's got a Z in his name. The Breakfast Story by Ray Bradbury. Haven't read it. I'm scared of the ocean. Nearly drowned and got dragged out of several times from the blades of the boat.
Yeah, I know. But that fool uses like 15 commas a sentence. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I haven't read a Dean Koontz book in years. I like some of his early work, but his stories are just weird, and he's not really that good of a writer. And you think someone who's been writing as long as he had would be a better writer than he is. And I don't mean to be mean, but I'm talking about his style. His I think he would benefit maybe from some writing classes, but he's got really poor style, and it's been difficult for me to read anything of his. He's got a few books really good. TikTok, I went through that one in one night. That book was hilarious. But I'm not really a fan. So, anyhow, I laughed from the Terminator's facial expressions when I first saw it. You know what gets me now is when you watch the original Terminator and he's doing the thing where he takes his eye out, and I'm looking at how you can tell it's a dummy, like a really bad dummy at that, and I just sit there being like, I wonder if when I was younger and I saw this movie, if I thought that seemed more real, but it was it seemed really really fake. So we are not using punctuation. Are we worried about the comma? Talking about commas and stuff. Stephen King's book, The Drawing of the Three, 2 pages, and I'm like, where's the freaking period in this sentence? It just went on and on and on and on, and I'm like, why would somebody do this? Magic Conch Shell, KOC, what's more scary, finding a spider on your arm or seeing a doll crawling on the ceiling? If a spider is crawling on my arm, I'll scream like a little girl. If a doll's crawling on my ceiling, I'll be like, I'm probably dreaming right now, or somebody's playing a practical joke on me. So it's I would probably go if the doll is crawling on the ceiling. I'll think that somebody in the house, or my brother, or someone is playing a joke. So the spider would be scary. And yes, I'm not even joking with you, and I'm sure Mr. XD Bad Dog will confirm. If the spider is crawling on my arm, I will probably scream like a little girl and run. In fact, the other day I had to get him to come in and kill a cricket. I don't like crickets because they jump. They scare the crap out of me because they jump at you. But no, the spiders are friends. Yes, I will not kill a spider. I think he can confirm that too. I will not kill a spider, but I don't want it crawling on me. But I could go even further. If you ever want to see me completely freaking terrified,
yes, I can confirm.
If you ever, centipedes. Centipedes I will run down the damn road screaming if I see a centipede. Toasty Jiggles, you might be able to benefit from wearing diapers, I think. Right there. Don't kill it, bad luck in a house. Are you scared of the Loch Ness Monster? I do not believe in the Loch Ness Monster. Sorry. It's it, um, it's a good question. It's a good question, but I don't believe in the Loch Ness monster. Sorry. What about house centipedes with the huge legs? Those are the worst. Oh my god! But see, the thing about those, I have no problem killing them. If I see them, I'll grab something. I'll grab a slipper and I'll just like destroy the hell out of them. Ugh. But yeah, it's those things, the ones with the long legs. Those are the worst. I can't even tell you how much those disturb the heck out of me. KLC, what would you do if you swam in Lake Michigan and a large muskie was in the water? It's hard for me to answer that question because I would never do that. I don't swim. I don't. The only time I go in the water is to take a shower. I don't swim. I don't go in swimming pools. I don't take baths. I take showers. I don't like being wet, and I hate being submerged in water. So that would never happen.
Hey, Killer.
Oh Lord, what? I'm trying to have a talk over here. That's what the room's
Angela
for.
asks, Killer, why does our brain play tricks on us walking down a dark, foggy road? Please explain.
Oh my God. Do you do?
I know, that's like, it's a question for you.
That is a very, very good question, and the sort of question that I really can answer, but it's really kind of complicated. It's trust me, is cognitive psychology. Is what my degree is in, but it's number one is perception. We perceive very little of what's actually going on around me. People think, "Oh, I can see everything," or "Oh, you couldn't sneak up on me," or "You couldn't do this." Our perception is actually very, very poor, and a lot of things that go on around us we will never notice. Our senses just decide that's not important. But we also rely very heavily upon a sight um, in order to protect us and people who can see, of course, and having that impaired in certain ways, number one causes you to have more anxiety. But not only that, we also take things like fog and see things in it that don't exist. I mean, like we have a tendency to try to see faces in the clouds. If we look at a bunch of markings on a wall, we'll try to make faces out of it. We do that with fog too. And in a foggy area, you're more likely to be scared because you can't see. And once your anxiety goes up a little bit, your brain starts to find things that are irrational and it makes you get even more scared. So, I mean, and that's not the complete way of explaining it. I mean, to really explain it, I'd have to be teaching a cognitive psych course, and it would probably still take like a week's worth of classes to really go over it all. But that's mainly what it is. Relying on it, yeah, pareidolia, seeing faces and the tendency to see faces and things that and I'm glad I'm Bowmaster. I commend I commend you. It's uh, uh most of the people that I know when I was that word for the life of them. But yeah, the main thing is anxiety. The fog limits your vision. We rely heavily upon our vision, so we're not able to rely on it as much as we had before. Therefore, our anxiety is raised, and once our anxiety is raised, we tend to find more things to be scared of. What if someone was a psychopath, though? Aren't they immune to anxiety, depression? Absolutely not. Uh,
Adam Miller says, Killer Orange Cat, you the man.
Thank you very much. Adam. I appreciate that. But yeah, Dan, no, psychopaths aren't immune to anything. Psychopath is not even a psychological designation. Psychopath is a term used by law enforcement. Uh, it refers to a somebody who has antisocial personality disorder, who it behaves in a certain way, who is manipulative, cunning. They can be they can lack empathy, but anxiety, no. It's there could be one. Okay, let me rephrase it. There could be guys who don't have anxiety, or have a lower or have a higher threshold for it, or they experience it. I don't think anybody, even a complete psychopath, uh, is immune to anxiety. If the anxiety is there, they may be able to control it and not let it bother them. But again, psychologists for the most part don't use those as designations. Those are law enforcement designations.
Nicole Hayes says,
Oh, Nicole. Hey, Nicole.
cock.
Yeah,
Thumbs up and down
I saw it.
waving.
Hey, Nicole. Nice to see you here too. I've
Um,
heard primary psychopaths lack complete anxiety. We've ever had a specimen, and I hate to use that word, but that's what they use, um, uh, of a psychopath who really is completely lacking anxiety, emotion, and empathy. I think that's more sort of a storybook sort of thing. It's there again. They may not be empathy. Yes, they can completely. There are ones who completely lack empathy, but completely lack emotion and anxiety. I don't. I've never heard of any specific case where that would be true. Um, if they usually won't be controlled by it or steered by it. They can ignore it and not act upon it or act against it. Um, but that doesn't mean that they don't have it. Of where you get it, and then again, you're getting into um things that psychologists are going to disagree with, and Alex. Well, you're talking. Wait a minute. Um, you're talking about from the character from A Clockwork Orange. He's just a character, but he definitely had emotion.
yeah, he definitely.
He had a lot of emotion. Um, but he definitely lacked empathy. He had zero empathy, but emotion, anxiety. He definitely had a lot of emotion, and he definitely had a shit ton of anxiety. If he didn't have anxiety, the whole thing they did to him. What
people for no reason?
if he didn't have? I know, but they don't hear you over here like they hear me saying talking it because you're all the way over there, and so I know. But anyhow, but yeah, no, he had a lot of anxiety and stuff. But again, that's just fictional characters. I mean, Hannibal Lecter, we could say Hannibal Lecter had no. Well, actually, I can't say Hannibal Lecter had no empathy. I would like to say that he did, but he had empathy for Clarice, without a shadow of fact.
Hannibal Lecter didn't seem to have any anxiety.
He didn't have anxiety, I don't think, but he definitely had emotion.
Yes, he did. But I mean, that's just an example of not having anxiety. He's the type of guy, but he's a character too.
Right. So, anyhow, yeah, but then again, they're just fictional characters. I have never heard of a actual person who, Mr. Blonde. I don't know who that is. But if we from the Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
But again, just a fictional character. We can write fictional characters who fit certain ways, but in actual real life people, I don't really know any. Because it's just again, we don't study it in the same way that that law enforcement does. And law enforcement and psychologists, we don't really have a great idea of getting along very well. But if you're referring to what people would consider a pure psychopath, um, which they did refer to Hannibal Lecter to that in the book, buddy that we have ever encountered at all that we could say was a pure psychopath. Uh, Again, the psychologist really wouldn't use that word, but it's just not something that we believe even can exist. You know, we, it- but it's different things, but and they lack certain things and they have certain things, but and honestly too is if I'm really kind of glad. I think having a pure psychopath actually exists would be the scariest freaking thing out there. But I don't think it exists. I mean, even Charles Manson, Lou Bloom is a pure psychopath. But yeah, well, again, I mean, a fictional character. I mean, I'm not really sure. Um, you can do that all the time you want to, but again, I'm talking about the Bloom is a pure psychopath, which is wonderful. But if you're talking about the comic book or the movie character, that really doesn't really mean anything. It's not a real person. Manson finally die? Yeah, Charles Manson died a few months ago. But yeah, as far as actual cases, actual people in reality, we have never come across somebody even close to being a pure psychopath. It's really just a designation that you're going to see in movies. Like even Charles Manson doesn't fit that description. He was very very subject to fits of anger, um, which often was caused by anxiety. So yeah, Claire Strange just casually going to bed. Good night. Well, good night, Claire. Hope the topic wasn't a little bit too tough, and I'll stay on it for a while. From my end, your mic sounds like it cuts off for a few brief seconds. It might be doing that. If it does, I apologize. I made a mistake a couple weeks ago, and I let my laptop update itself. I resisted letting it do any updates. Number one, because I hate Windows 10, and I let it do some updates, and it hasn't been running as good. It won't let me do a restore before the updates.
Sounds good from here.
And so if there's mistakes, I apologize. I have to go smoke. The last one killed me. The last smoke killed you, or the last thing we were talking about? Henry VIII. You said, but Henry VIII. I'm sure you don't mean the king. Sometimes we'll miss things on here, but yeah, yeah. Updates for the devil's work usually. Yeah, it was the biggest mistake I've made since I got this computer. Are we getting the story tonight? That's a good question. I had spent so much time looking for that dog story that I have didn't have a time to find another one. I can take a look and see if I can find one right before I stop for the night, so we could do that. Um, KOC, what is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you? Well, first I'll look for a story. I can look for a story that I can probably read right towards the end of the stream. Um, but while I'm doing that, I'll still answer some questions there. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me? Wow. I don't want to get too heavy into everything. But the scariest thing that ever happened to me would have to be when I was 15. That was the time that I ran away from home and with a friend of mine who, when I was out of the room for the day, he committed suicide, and I had to come back and find him there. That was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. The Magic Conch Shell. Who's the best Ninja Turtle? The red one is my favorite. My favorite was always Donatello. Um, I guess because he was a nerd and I was a nerd for a little while. So hey, nerds got to stick together, right? Yeah, Matthew, my friend Matthew died, and that's uh probably undoubtedly the scariest thing that ever happened to me. Um, but yeah, you must have a lot of scary things happen to you with that long pause. And I remember that story actually. No, it wasn't. Well, yeah, I've had a lot of scary things happen to me, but the long pause really wasn't me trying to think of which one was the scariest. The long pause was me trying to decide if I wanted to tell that story again. Um, it's not. It's been a very long time, but it's not easy for me to tell. It's I've not gotten over it. There are times that I spend all day just thinking about it and uh, spend all my time by myself. I haven't gotten over it after all these years. So, and I don't feel bad about asking me or me telling it, because it's not a it's not a big deal. Um, but I mean, I told a lot. I've told the story to other people tons and tons of times. I'll tell it more times again. So, it so see how it gets me. So I enough that I'll sit here and I'll keep on going on and on like that. Uh, you can't ever get over into something like that. I think you're right, and the whole thing was just well, I mean, and it wasn't only just an awful experience; it was a confusing experience. You don't always know exactly how these things will affect you. So, but oh, that's kind of a funny little. Maybe I'll read this before I. Okay, I've found a little. Not going to end quite yet. Since I got started late, I was going to do about 90 minutes. We've been going for about an hour. I'm probably going for another 15, 20 minutes. And and the reason why is pretty good. I am doing some work, and I'm working on my next video, which I will try to get out tomorrow. And I'm kind of changing my what's the word I'm looking, my structure just a little bit. Um, or not, but if I didn't, here they are. I'll say I'm saying that thinking all cool, like I'm actually typing in the typing area, and it just I wasn't typing. The mouse wasn't there. The cursor wasn't there. I'm not gonna wake her up. When she sleeps, I let her sleep. I can't clearly remember the scariest thing that ever happened to me because I was really young and kind of blocked it out. That's sort of good and bad. It's bad that something happened to you so horribly that you had to block it out, but it's probably good that you don't remember if it was that bad. What about the water park stories? Are they ever being published? Water. I'm a little confused there. Can you explain that a little bit more? Um, but anyhow, the but the
Oh yeah, he's a total troll.
so anyhow, sorry, I just got distracted. I'm sorry. I'm usually I think I'm a little bit better at this than I am. So, let me do something real here. KOC, I finally got a chance to come by. Well, there we go. So enough of that already. Thought maybe everybody was getting a little tired of seeing that. Evil Black Cat's usually the one here who takes care of the trolling people. So her presence was definitely missed, but now it's taking me a second to take care of it. So the audio keeps cutting out. Is it cutting out or is it just me? I muted the microphone a couple times because I was trying to take care of influence, and it took me a while to do it, but that's taken care of. I wasn't seeing everything, so I had to confer that it was trolling. So I apologize for that. I hope it sounds better now. Water park stories. I mean, if I had water park stories, I'd read them, but I'd have to find some. I would probably be scared of those myself. Oh my god, I could imagine going down a huge slide and just going right into the water. I'd be like terrified. I think if you guys wanted to see me scared out of my mind, do that. Or you know, I remember once I had went out with somebody that I didn't know very well, and we were crossing the Chicago River, and we were just hanging out, and he thought it'd be funny to, as we were crossing the bridge, to take me and like push me up against the railing and block me as if he was going to throw me over the railing into the river. And of course, I started freaking out because my anxiety just went through the roof because I'm sitting here looking down at the freaking Chicago River off a really high bridge with this person blocking me because he's a friend who thinks it's funny. And let's just say his balls weren't feeling very good that day. And hopefully not for the next few days after I hit him that hard. So, but yeah, that was just quite disturbing. It's good to hear you, dear. You made my night. Oh, Mr. Don, I hope you're doing all right. My cousin tricked me into going down the highest and steepest water slide at Waterworld. Um, hmm. How is it that? Yeah, I've never been to a water park. I think that when I was younger, when I go to Six Flags Great America in Illinois, I've been on water rides like the boat, Splash Mountain, where you go down something and you get splashed. I didn't like them then, even when it's hot. I kind of just felt I had to go on them because everybody else went on them. And there's a cat doing something in the kitchen that's going to get himself killed. I don't know what it is, but it sounds like cats are knocking something over. Can you see something?
I'll go look.
But he'd probably kick him in the nuts too. Uh, yeah, it. I just couldn't imagine why somebody would think that would be a fun thing to do. It's like I'm also scared of knives, so I think it'd be good if someone took a knife and started chasing me down into the other room with it or something. I mean, it would be the exact same thing as somebody taking me and trying to push me up against the water like that. The cats are destroying everything. Well, it's what they do. It's the kittens again, and you know how I am about kittens. They're
Get off the stove, fucking moron.
yep. There is a kitten who got into one of the pans on the stove. It looks
No,
like.
somebody knocked over the garbage can.
Oh,
Hopefully it's empty. I don't think it was this one though.
I went on a water slide at Kings Island. The slide was so steep, I swear my legs went over the edge. I was going down. I was so scared. I was angry at my dad when I got to the end. You guys still chatting? If you're talking asking about me and the person who pushed me up against the side of the bridge, no, I haven't spoken to that person since I was 19 years old. That was the last time too. Uh, that's just not nice. I have hundreds of accounts. Well, you know, I don't. I can just block you 100 times, and I'd be mighty happy with it. So enjoy. You're If you want to keep on signing out and signing in again and acting like an asshole, feel free. I'll block you each time. Honestly, I'm a moderator on a professional wrestling website with Big Kev and Nicole and XD Bad Dog all know about. I don't get an opportunity to block people or kick people very much there because most people are well behaved. So hey, Toasty Jiggles, you just keep on coming right back in because all you're doing is let me have a little bit of fun and do it again. I'll block you each time. I'll get it all out of my system. So all you're doing is entertaining me and making yourself look like a complete and total asshole. But we kind of knew you were that before you changed names. So whatever. But anyways, I missed some drama. Just Toasty Jiggles. I blocked him because he was trolling and he changed his name. You can't block me. I have thousands of accounts. Well, I'll block all of them. I have no problem with that. In fact, like I said, I enjoyed it. When he comes back again, I'll enjoy blocking him again. I was pretty pissed off about that guy earlier who was saying I didn't have the voice to do that. So, hey, blocking trolls, get all that anger and anxiety out of my system. KOC finally got a chance to buy your merch. Well, thank you for the donation. And if my sister, Evil Black Cat, was here, she would thank you for the merchandise. One thing I should always tell people: the merchandise is not that's not me. That's my sister. She runs a merchandise store. The profit all goes to her. It's her thing. I just let her use my name on it because I use her cat for my channel. So, but she makes all the stuff. So, but I appreciate the donation. Thank you, and I'm sure she appreciates whatever merchandise you bought. Much love, right back. But yeah, the as I was saying before, I got distracted by about 1,000. Big Kev, $10. Time to kick the one in the background. Ha ha ha! Love you, KOC. Oh God, did you really want me to do that? In fact, it's funny. After me kick blocking the other guy twice, you don't really want me to do that, do you, Kevin?
Hey, don't forget to pitch her store.
Oh,
Pixel Dust.
well, I'll have to know more about it because I don't know anything enough about to say anything about it right now. So apparently, Evil Black Cat has another store she calls Pixel Dust. I This is kind of my first time hearing it, but whenever I know more about it, I'll let you guys know if you want to take a look around it. Who's got a kick? But let me see. Okay, let me go back. Kick me out of the chat on our forum. Well, no, I don't really care about kicking people. I'd rather not most of the time. Although if Toasty Jiggles comes back, I'll have a hell of a fun time blocking him again. But thank you for the donation, Kevin. Do you really? I'm sure you really don't want me to do that. But then again, I don't know you. Maybe you do. But if you want, I'll just kick Toasty Jiggles again when he comes back. You'll enjoy that. What anime have you been watching? I haven't been watching any lately, which is actually a shame. I need to finish Naruto. I've never finished Naruto. That's my favorite shonen anime. I can tell you some of my favorite animes. Eden of the East. If you haven't watched Eden of the East, you might really like that. Eden of the East is, I believe, it's 10. It's a 10-episode series about a guy who loses his memory. He kind of wakes up and he's naked in front of the White House holding a gun, and he has a cell phone. And he meets this girl he's from Japan, but he's in the United States, who throws a quarter into White House lawn to make a wish, and they go back to Japan. It's a really good one. I didn't know much about it. I just watched it because the characters looked interesting, and I loved it. I've seen it a few times. So Eden of the East is very, very enjoyable. Um, Eden, XD Bad Dog would enjoy being kicked. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, Eden of the East is really good. It's I like a wide variety of anime, and but I do always recommend that one to people because it's a lesser known one, and it's still really good. So read Green Eggs and Ham. Actually, the story that I'm going to read is it's a sleep paralysis story, and one of the better ones. I think I liked it. But I was going through some of my old stories and I saw it. It's called The Third Kind, and it'll be the one that I read. I'm not going to I'm not going to read it quite yet because I'm not quite done talking. Because I haven't had a chance just to talk to everybody uh for a while because last week I was having that neck pain, which I can say thank God is gone because that was just plain awful. Don't know what it was, but it was like a headache and a neck ache in the back, and they were happening simultaneously. And when I was trying to get up for the stream, I just couldn't get out of bed. I was like trying to pull myself out, and it just hurt really badly. A really good anime to watch would be Made in Abyss. It came out last year. Well, I'll check that out. I'm going to be in heaven sometime next week because I'm going to go back to Chicago for about 10 days, and I will be able to go to Mitsuya, which is a Japanese mall that I absolutely love to go to. It's got a grocery store, a bookstore, a food court, video store, uh, furniture store. Uh, it's really wonderful, and I really, really love it. And I can just go to the manga section and just spend all my time looking at all the big variety of manga. And then when I buy it, they'll ask me, they'll be like, "Oh, we have this available in English too." And I'll be like, "No, I can read Japanese, thank you." "Oh, you can read Japanese?" "Yes, I sure can." And then they'll start talking to me in Japanese. I love that mall. I've never had a bad experience there until this one woman who is a cashier would just give me these dirty looks and stuff. And then I heard her talking to the bagger, and she told the bagger that she wished that uh, these white people would stop coming into their store. And so I answered her in Japanese and asked her why she doesn't like white people coming into the store. The look on her face was priceless, and she just had no idea that I understood what she was saying. Yeah, Mitsuya is great. I love it. So I'm glad you have one there that you can go to also. You made me laugh. I broke my neck a couple years ago, and I have to put lidocaine ointment on my neck. Lidocaine. See, like I think I mentioned this before. In case you missed it last time, Jiggles there. I'll enjoy blocking you every time you come in here. So do it again, do it again, do it again. All you're doing is giving me fun things to do, little boy. $10 well spent. Oh, yeah, well, I didn't kick him. I kicked somebody else. But if that entertains you, Kevin, I'll be happy. Well, I don't know if I consider the lady who did it, who the cashier racist or not. I guess when you live in an area where you're really minor ethnicity, maybe she felt like the Japanese mob was sort of a sanctuary for her people, maybe. That sounds weird, but maybe sometimes you feel like you have to be somewhere that's just yours, you know? Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with her. I think it was horrible for her to say that, but it was worth it for the response or the look on the face that she had when she realized that I spoke Japanese and knew what was going on. That was great. But let's see, Kick Ass, $10 was spent. The troll came back, kicked him out. What channels narrators do you listen to? Oh my lord, I listen to so many. Mortis Media, Being Scared, Darkness Prevails, uh, Grimtail Brothers, Phantom of Darkness. And see, the thing is, I shouldn't have started mentioning them because there's so many of them, and there are going to be ones that I don't mention and feel bad about. As I know just so many people and like so many of them, that's one of the best things about this is having the connections with other people. Oh, we shouldn't be here. Absolutely wonderful. Formidable Escape. I'm doing collaboration with a channel called Next Halloween right now. My mind's gonna just blank, and I'm gonna feel bad because there's so many people. The Grim Reader is pretty good. Corpse Husband needs to do more. Southern Cannibal, and just speaking of Southern Cannibal, I felt really bad about what happened to him lately. Uh, and really confused because I tried to help him figure it out, but you know his channel got demonetized for something called duplication, and they wouldn't really explain to him, I guess, what it was or even why he got demonetized. It was pretty awful, and but there's so many. I am gonna Blue Spooky, yeah, Blue Spooky and me, and Joey's Nightmares. We kind of started at the same time, and kind of started growing together. I don't really get to talk to either of them again. Blue Spooky, I guess, is pretty busy. We haven't spoken since 2017, last time we collabed. Kind of sad though, because we were pretty good friends at one point. Joey's Nightmares is very sporadic, but still a really nice guy. Yeah, I, I am for as far as Southern Cannibal goes. I am going to go ahead and join his Patreon on Thursday before, but Southern Cannibal does this for a living. This is his job. He doesn't have any other income, and he got demonetized, and nobody he really knows why. It's very strange, and a lot of people are coming together to give him donations to his Patreon. Uh, I've been asked by several people to start one of those myself, and I've resisted for the longest time because Southern Cannibal no Southern Cannibal's still going to be making videos. He just can't monetize them for about a month, and then he's going to be able to reapply for monetization. But the thing is that he doesn't know why. The only thing they gave him, the only explanation given to him was duplication. And I saw all the screenshots he had with the Google representative who didn't explain anything and didn't even tell him what it meant. Just said some really strange things to him and didn't explain anything. So fortunately, I mean, hopefully he'll be able to get enough patrons on his Patreon that he'll be able to support himself. If not, he's going to have some problems, I guess. Unfortunately, Mr. Nightmare. Is there any animosity between the narrators of scary stories on YouTube? There are there's animosity between some. And unfortunately, I've been in the middle of some of it. I will sometimes have people who don't like each other ask me for advice about the other person, and it's like, guys, please don't put me in between. And they don't realize they're putting me in between. But there are some, and I'm not going to mention any names here, but there are some people who don't like each other. mutually very well. But it's not really something I get involved in, and I would never plan on it. Like I said, I tell them to leave me out of it. I don't have any feuds or anything going on with anybody. I try to get along with everybody as much as possible. I, I remember somebody once saying that saying something negative about me that they thought I wasn't good enough to be doing this. Um, and there is somebody I personally don't like. I've mentioned it before, and I'm not going to mention it again just because I just wouldn't want to get into the negativity behind it. But that person is no longer a narrator. They do other things. They uh, slander people now rather than making videos about horror stories. So I just try to block those people out of my life. So. And once again, you think that it's just something that I'm not going to catch right away. But I did, so go on, go on, go on. Keep on entertaining me. That's good enough for me. I'm glad you stay out. Yeah, I've had a lot of drama in my life. I don't need much more. Bone Master going to bed. It's been fun. I think the troll's back again, but he's gone again too. So that's fun too. You have a great night. I roll on them saying you're not good enough. You're one of my favorites and one of the most underrated, in my opinion. Well, thank you very much, Nicola Yamamoto. That is a beautiful name, and thank you very much. That means a lot. Hello, block. KOC is fast. Well, I have the mouse sitting right there, so I figured he's going to keep coming back. I might as well keep the mouse right there, and it's already on that option, so I just go over and I don't have to scroll or anything. I'm reporting him every time he pops on as well. Yeah. You guys hear that? Drew's in the background wanting some food. But yeah, I like to stick away with it. There's no reason to go for it. So here's what I'm going to do. In a couple minutes, I'm going to go ahead and read this story, and then I'm probably going to call it a night. Then I've been doing this for about 2 hours almost. It says that can't be right. No, I started at like 10:20. It says started streaming 2 hours ago. It definitely hasn't been that long, but I'm going to. Thank you, KLC. People always do a double take with my name. I'm a white English girl living in the U.S. with a Japanese husband. I honestly was thinking it was something like that, but I didn't want to make any presumptions. But yeah, his last name and now your last name works with your first name as far as I'm concerned. I think that's pretty good. He has no imagination with names, dialogue. He's well, yeah, he's. You're right, Diana, but I think he was trying to be that. But I never got back to what I was trying to tell you guys earlier. I'm changing the format just a tiny bit, and I have stories in a video that I hope will be out tomorrow. If it is, it'll be late tomorrow. But it's going to be 10 stories. As usual, they are stories that have not been read by any other YouTube channel. They're shorter than my normal stories. They're all a little bit shorter, more to the point. And I wanted to try doing that because a lot of people have been doing that. So I looked for some shorter stories. They're not a lot shorter. The video itself will be longer than most of my videos are. I've never done a video that long though without it being a compilation of previous videos. So actually I did that Halloween video I did a couple years ago, but that was like 3 hours long. But I'm going to try to have that out tomorrow night. So I hope that you'll look out for that. It's going to be babysitting stories. So it'll be 10 never yet heard babysitting stories. And I hope that everyone will like that. There's a couple of them that are really pretty freaky. House of Horror, how are you doing, Killer Orange Cat? I am doing pretty good. How are you doing? I've been having a lot of fun. There's this troll that keeps coming back into my room, and I keep blocking him, and it's really, 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 really fun. I'm hoping he does it at least one more time before this is over. Hey Nancy, glad I'm still alive? Well, I won't be too much longer. In a couple minutes, I'm going to read a story, and then that's going to be the end. But I'm glad you were able to catch a few minutes at least. Uh, Thank you, Drew's Revenge. Thank you for reading the story I submitted. Did a great job. I will submit more soon. It was my pleasure, and I look forward to reading the other ones. So I send them to me anytime. That's great. Any more chainsaw stories? You know, I think I'm going to try to find some. I That video didn't really do very well, but I thought it would. I mean, God, you like horror? You see someone with a chainsaw video?
So much
Yeah,
fun.
you think I thought people were going to run to that video. I thought that was going to be like a really huge, maybe even a breakout video for me, but it wasn't. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do them. So I'll do more. Cringy 12-year-old, what's up, Killer Orange Cat? Well, not much, just talking with some friends here. And like I said, I'm going to read a story in a moment, and that's going to be the end of the stream pretty soon. How's Ichigo? Um, I think he's sleeping with my sister. You know, that's usually what he does. Um, he's probably pretty good. You know, he's a good boy. Ichigo's a big pillow, so he's probably serving as a pillow for my sister right now. Oh, and another I don't want to actually leave before mentioning another narrator that I really enjoy, Nordic Vampire. He's also been an extremely good friend to me. And there's and others. I just hope they're not sitting down, or they'll be listening to this later, being like, "Well, he didn't mention me." If I didn't, feel free to whip me to death. So, Chainsaw Stories. Everyone's heard of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Cool movie. I live in Texas, but far away from where it took place. But the and XD Bad Dog goes away before we get another troll. I'm thinking he's gonna try it once more, so I kind of got my fingers crossed, kind of waiting for it. But we'll see what happens. Shout out my name, please. Uh, Z Chang. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I know that sometimes sometimes words don't always get pronounced the way they look, so I hope I did that right. Great stream. You're pretty okay. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. After your story reading, hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to somewhat pay attention to what's going on, just in case who decides to come back during my little story reading. Can submitted stories be scary but have a funny ending? Absolutely. I would. If those exist, I encourage that. So yeah, feel completely free to have a story with a funny ending. Now, let me do this real quick. Just moving everything around so I can read the story. Now, this story was something that was in a much earlier video than it was. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was a police. I have to say police academy. What the hell am I talking about? It was a. I'm pretty sure it was a sleep paralysis video, but I really really liked it. Can you see your fave live? I'm guessing you mean my face, and maybe eventually. Definitely not tonight. I'm not. I'm not prettied up, and as I've mentioned before on streams, I'm kind of vain, so I will do it in the future. So, but anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and read this last story. It's called "The Third Kind." And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye and end the stream for the night. I will try to do another stream on Friday night. I will do my best to look for and find that story about the tunnel and the guy who wants everyone to play with their dogs. And if I can't find it, I'll transcribe it and I'll read it anyways. But I'm proud. I'm happy enough to go ahead and do that because that story is kind of popular and needs to be read. Why do people get scared? I don't have time to really answer that question. There's a lot behind that. So anyhow, I will go ahead and read the story here while I'm listening to kittens in the background. The third kind. I know there are people out there who will not believe this was a sleep paralysis episode. But because of what I believe is possible and impossible, I know that it was. I don't actually remember going to sleep that night, but I remember waking up. I'm not sure what awoke me. I thought I'd try to get up and make a bathroom run, but I found that I couldn't move. I began to feel panicked. Over to the side of me, it looked like I saw a really bright light out of my window. It only lasted for a moment, though, and then it was dark again. I then heard the distinct noise of footsteps outside of the house. They seemed like they were getting closer and closer. And then I heard what sounded like my bedroom window opening. As I mentioned, the window was off to the side, so I didn't get a good look at it. However, I could see that it was opening. I was scared that someone was obviously breaking into my home, and for some reason I couldn't explain, I couldn't move. I tried moving. Looking out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure slip into the window. Then, whatever had slipped into my room reached up and pulled the window closed. It was scary enough that something was in my room, but it was just as scary that I couldn't see what it was. Whatever it was crawling on all fours, or it was really short because I couldn't see it. I could feel myself breathing harder and my heart racing as the crawling came towards my bed. And then everything was quiet, and I didn't see anything. I'm not sure how long I lay there on my bed, trying to move but not being able to. And I was also trying to not be scared while wondering what the hell that thing in my room had to be. It was terrifying. Then it happened fast. The face of a typical gray alien appeared quickly over my face. I wanted to scream. He had some sort of long pin in his hand. Without so much as a pause, he took the pin and quickly plunged away. With a shock, then, everything was gone. I was lying in bed, but there was no alien in the room. I could also move. I ran screaming out of my room, waking up my parents. When I told them what happened, my mom explained to me what sleep paralysis is. I have told people this story, and they have told me they think I was abducted. I don't believe that, though. I know sleep paralysis is a real thing. I have no proof aliens are. But while it was happening, I honestly did think an alien was about to torture me. I really like that story. I like this. I like the fact that the person in the story doesn't move towards the unexplainable. They move towards the explanation. So I think that's pretty good. But yes, I will try this again. Keep a lookout on the discussion page and on Twitter if you follow me there. I will talk about whether or not I'll do a stream on Friday, and if I do, I'll try to do that dog story. I appreciate everybody coming, everyone liking that has liked, everyone that has watched, and I appreciate the donations that I've got as well. I hope that I agree, Sage Kath. I think probably all, in my personal opinion, that all alien abductions are probably sleep paralysis because I don't personally believe aliens have come here. But this is my own belief. I don't tell people that, and I don't look down on them for believing things that are different. But yeah, keep an eye out on the discussion page and on Twitter. If I'm doing a stream on Friday, I will announce it. Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming, and I'm really, really happy that you're here. And I hope you all get a good night's rest. Thank you again. Bye, everybody.